What's that? Yeah, just wait. All right. I would like to welcome everybody to our community update here on April 10th, and we'll go ahead and get started. I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Mark Johnson, spokesperson for the Beadle County COVID-19 Unified Task Force. What we're going to do is we're going to have a little roundtable discussion. We're going to have before we get to that, I do have a brief statement from the task force that I am going to read. So, I'd like to start with a brief update. The current update from the South Dakota Department of Health shows 22 positive cases in Beadle County. As we move forward, we continue to hear of the study numbers in Beadle County. The Beadle County COVID-19 Task Force wants to thank the public for following the direction that their elected leaders have enacted. We continue to encourage staying at home, reducing non-essential travel, minimizing trips, and maintaining our social distance while outside the home and following the resolutions, ordinances, and executive orders that have been put in place. As Governor Noem has said, this is a marathon and not a sprint. We have a long road to go, and we need to continue those good social distancing practices. There is still concern of the spread of COVID-19 in Beadle County, and we need to follow those mitigation recommendations. We're in this battle together, and we will persevere. The Beadle County COVID-19 Task Force and our elected leaders frequently hear that testing is not being completed, or it's only being completed on certain individuals in Beadle County. This is a rumor. The Beadle County COVID-19 Task Force is still averaging, or our testing facility is averaging 4 to 5 tests a day. This does not include the numbers from individual healthcare providers. However, we do have limited numbers of collection kits. The State Department of Health continues to ensure proper stewardship of the collection kits because of the lack of supply. The following priority populations are who the Beadle County COVID-19 Task Force are testing, and these kits are sent to the South Dakota Public Health Lab for testing. Symptomatic healthcare workers, hospitalized individuals, and individuals in communal living situations like long-term and assisted living facilities. Your individual medical provider can send a test to a commercial testing facility if the patient does not meet the criteria for the South Dakota Public Health Lab. Any provider can order a test for their patients at the provider's discretion. However, the Department of Health recommends that good stewardship be used for those specimen collections. If you have concerns, the public does have an option with the Beadle County COVID-19 call center. The call center is available to discuss and monitor symptoms related to COVID-19. The call center continuously monitors patients that do not fall into the priority of testing but are following self-isolation guidelines. The members of the public that have called in are in the callback list. They appreciate the checkups over the phone, ensure that they are not worsening or need any other medical attention. The call center's number is 605-353-6214. We know that multiple times a day we hear information from many different social media platforms. We want to encourage everybody that you are following the information that has been provided by the Department of Health, whether it be from the COVID-19 Facebook page. There's many different situations out there. It's a fluid situation, and things change quickly. If you do have concerns or immediate questions, please talk to your healthcare provider. Please contact the Department of Health directly. We would like to thank the Camrose Colony near Frankfurt, along with all the other community members who've been sewing masks. There are numerous individual citizens that have been stepping up to make these masks, and they've been distributed to our healthcare providers and essential service personnel throughout the county. If you are interested, you can make contact with the local task force and we'll get you in touch with them. Every day there's options and resources that are available from multiple different agencies across the country, whether it be for energy assistance or unemployment options. So what we're going to do is we're going to move into our roundtable discussion. We're going to kind of try to let our professionals in that area break down some of the options that are out there. So as we move into our roundtable discussion, if you have questions, you can email them to covid19@huronsd.com. So we're doing this all over Zoom. We have individuals from the Small Business Development Corporation. We have the South Dakota Department of Labor, and we also have Dakota Land Federal Credit Union. So I will start with Kelly Weaver, who will give an introduction and some comments that she has.
Thank you, Mark, and thanks for inviting me to participate in this. As Mark said, I'm with the Small Business Development Center. My office is in Aberdeen, and we cover the northeast corner of the state. So Beetle County is part of our territory. Prior to this, I would probably been in Beetle County about this time, but not for a while yet. So we're working remotely out of our offices and responding to people as quickly as we can. And there's been a lot of demand, as you can imagine. Our services are free of charge. We're here to help people that are starting businesses, people that are in businesses, and at this point, helping them navigate the resources that are out there. The Small Business Administration is our federal funding partner, so we have a great link with them to keep up to date on all the new programs that have been rolled out in response to the coronavirus packages that have been passed through Congress. I'll get into more detail about that as we get into the Q&A section, but thanks again for having me.
Yep. Next we'll have Darla Erickson from Dakota Land.
Hi, yes, I'm a consumer loan officer here at Dakota Land, and I assist our members in consumer loans. We do have some programs in place because of this COVID-19 to help our members get through the next few months. So if you have any questions in regards to that and you're a member of Dakota Land, please give me a call at Dakota Land Federal Credit Union. I'd be able to help assist that along with any one of our consumer loan officers or membership services can help you with that too.
Okay. Next we have Robin Wallum from the South Dakota Department of Labor.
Hey, thanks, Mark. Yes, I'm here in the office. Our doors are locked, but we are here working just a few of us at a time. Otherwise, the rest of the staff are home, working from their homes. And so if you call our office, we will still pick up, and we'll more than likely take your name and number and then have somebody who's working remotely return your call. As you can imagine, the South Dakota Department of Labor and Regulation have been handling an absolutely unprecedented volume of unemployment insurance claims due to COVID-19 related layoffs. Last week they had 8,000 unemployment insurance claims, and the week before they had 7,000. It's just phenomenal. Due to the heavy call volume, individuals should file their unemployment insurance online whenever possible, and that address is raclaims.sd.gov, raclaims.sd.gov. And then also on that site are some fun tutorials to watch, so you can look at it and learn how to apply for reemployment assistance, and then how to request your weekly payment, and then there's another video on frequently asked questions.
Okay. We have some questions. If anybody does like to or would like to email a question into our panel that we have, remember you can do that at covid19@huronsd.com. But we'll kind of go into our roundtable discussion. I'm going to start with Kelly Weaver. What options are currently available for small businesses at the state level?
Well, there are a ton of different programs at the state and the federal level that businesses can access. And a lot of the questions we've been fielding is just getting people to understand what they are and if they can apply for more than one and how is it best fit. Every business has their own situation, so it's not a one size fits all. It's not every business should apply for this particular program, but I'm just going to go over those really briefly. And then again, if somebody has more questions, we can go into a little more detail. The one that's probably getting the most amount of press and the most amount of activity as far as applications goes is the Paycheck Protection Program. This is a new program created through the CARES Act, and it is to provide, its intent is to keep employees on the payroll. Even if the business is closed or suffering significant losses, the purpose is for the business owner to be able to borrow money to keep those people on the payroll so that when things return to normal, they can come back to work very easily. And of course, provide support to those employees during that time. So this program is applied through a bank. They have to be an SBA approved lender. So you go to the bank where you are, where you do bank. That would be your first stopping point to apply directly through them. You can apply for 2.5 months worth of payroll expenses. And then that money is to be used to pay for employees for the following 8 weeks after you receive the money. And then that loan can be forgiven, which is one of the reasons why it's so popular. And you can get forgiveness by using that money for your payroll. And you can also count some of your rent and utility expenses to help pay for or account for some of the forgiveness, up to 25%. So that one's very popular. That was in a pool of $349 million that was allocated to that pool. As of yesterday, they had about 100 million allocated, and they're going through it at about $1 billion an hour. So we figure there's about 10 days worth of money left, if that. The Economic Injury Disaster Loan is another SBA program. This has a feature of an advance of up to $10,000 that does not have to be repaid. This program's been around a long time, but the advance feature is something that's new. And this really, again, can be used for more than just payroll. So it's really to help that business owner sustain their business during this critical time and give them some cash flow to pay bills, to pay insurance, to pay their loan payments, to cover, the fact that they have customers who maybe aren't paying them for their accounts receivable. So they have money to keep that business open and operating and be, again, ready to go once the things turn around and have some cash flow to pay that loan back. The state of South Dakota created their own small business relief fund, which is a 0% loan for up to $75,000. And they're really working hard to get that money out fast. That's probably the fastest money you're going to get. The other two programs take a little bit longer just because there's some new features they're trying to implement. But the state relief fund is also available through the Governor's Office of Economic Development. All of the SBA programs if you have a 504 loan, an SBA 7A loan, or a microloan program, they were granted SBA debt relief. So if you have a loan, you should be in contact with your lender, and the SBA is going to pay payments for those loans for the next 6 months. So SBA is in contact with your lender, you be in contact with your lender, and you should have some debt forgiveness for the next 6 months on those loans. Anyone who's making payroll tax, incurring payroll tax liabilities for the rest of the year, the employer's share of those payroll taxes can be deferred, half until 2021 and half until 2022. Another option for giving you some additional cash flow where you can delay the payment of those taxes for the employer's share of the payroll taxes. There's also some payroll tax credits. If you don't take advantage of the payroll protection loan program, you can also get some credits back on your payroll taxes for keeping staff on. And then there's also some new requirements for paid sick leave. If you have employees that are affected by the virus, you're required to give them 2 weeks of sick leave to stay home, isolate, get better. Perhaps they have a loved one they have to take care of. Perhaps they have to take care of children who are not in school. Different various scenarios gives you different types of requirements that you have to offer them sick leave, but then you get credit back on your payroll taxes to help offset the cost of that. So that's something also that's new to be aware of. Rob mentioned the unemployment benefits. I won't go into that. I'll let her be the expert there as she is. But those are kind of the top level programs that are out there. And I know there's a lot of detail. We have a small business resource sheet that's available on our Grow South Dakota website. That's growsd.org. smallbusiness.org. There's a COVID-19 link, and on that page, there's a link that says resources for small businesses, and all these programs are listed there with more detail and links to websites. But again, if anyone has questions, I'd be glad to answer those.
Okay. Are there any specific requirements that businesses should be following to make sure that they are qualified for the assistance that's out there?
Well, I think first and foremost, you have to be able to show an impact. Just because you can get money for your payroll, if your business is not being affected and you can pay your payroll just like you normally would, you really wouldn't qualify. You have to be able to show some kind of impact from COVID-19, which it's pretty broad. I mean, even if your supply chain is interrupted or other things, it doesn't mean that you have to have your business shut down to say you're affected. There's a lot of ways businesses are affected. But first and foremost, you have to be able to show that impact. With the PPP program, they have to have been in business by February 15th of 2020. They have to be able to document some payroll costs so they can apply for those. Some of the programs have size limitations as far as employees are concerned. And it's usually not a big concern for most South Dakota businesses. For the PPP program, they have to have 500 or less employees, which is about 99% of the businesses in South Dakota. And for the state program, it's 250 or less employees. So that fits a large majority of our small businesses. Obviously, they have to be able to use that money for whatever the programs are requiring them to use it for. If they apply for multiple programs, there is some layering that they can do, but you can't double count. If I'm using money from the payroll protection program to pay my payroll, I can't also use the disaster loan money to pay that same payroll. So taking good care of your record keeping when you apply for these funds, a good example or a good suggestion would be to create a whole separate checking account for that money to go into, pay your expenses that are qualified out of that account. So it makes it really easy when you go back into the bank, because for the Paycheck Protection Program, you will have to apply for that loan forgiveness. It's not automatic. So you have to be able to prove that you've actually incurred these expenses in the proper way in order to get that loan forgiveness. Those are kind of the high level ones. Obviously, every program has a little bit of different requirements, but I think those are the big ones.
Okay. Are there steps an employer can take right now to protect their assets or anything along those lines to make sure that they still have cash flow?
Well, I think in this type of disaster, the biggest assets that businesses need to protect are their human assets, their employees. And as you can see, all these programs are really focused on keeping those employees in place or being able to support those employees that have to be unemployed. There's a lot of guidance on SBA's website, on the state's COVID website at the Department of Health and the CDC website about what to do for those businesses that are open, that are critical services that have to be open. How can you, as we're all doing, working remotely or having limited staff in the office at one time, there's a lot of things that limiting the number of people that come into your office. All of those things are good things to take very, very seriously. Certainly you want to protect your cash. Work with your creditors, work with any suppliers that you have that you might owe money to communicate with them about your cash flow situation. And, everybody's trying to be forgiving as much as possible in this environment. The best source of cash you can get is sales. So if there's a way to preserve your sales or think differently about who you sell to, how you sell it, what you sell to bring in that cash, that's absolutely the best source of cash flow. But again, there's all these other programs out there. For those that are experiencing downtime, it's a great time to do staff training, maintenance or upgrades of facilities or of computer systems, things that you would normally do other times of the year that might not be so productive for you. Well, now's a great time to take advantage of those. Obviously, insurance might be one of those expenses you don't want to not pay, because that's how you protect your assets, is insurance. Just because we're in the middle of this doesn't mean we're not going to have a tornado or a flood or you're going to have a fire in your facility, you still want to keep those good insurance products in place. And then certainly work and reach out to your small business development centers. It's a lot easier for us to work with you one-on-one with your individual situations to talk about opportunities. And our SBDC program statewide is hosted by the University of South Dakota. And they announced this week that they are having some webinars that are available for free. So if you go to usd.edu, they are offering a series of webinars. The first one was yesterday, I believe. There's about 6 or 7 different webinars that are available, and the recordings will be available after the fact too. So, and I know there's just tons of providers out there providing good content. So again, if you're not real busy with customers at this point, here's an opportunity to educate yourself, your team, and take advantage of these resources that are being made available.
Okay. Any last comments, Kelly, before we move on?
I know it can be an overwhelming time. So again, we're happy to help clear the mud, or, make it a little more clear, and help you. Again, every situation is a little bit unique. Talk through. Sometimes you just need somebody to talk through different options with, and please reach out to us if we can be of assistance. We have my office in Aberdeen and 5 other counseling centers across the state. So our website is sdbusinesshelp.com, and you can find the SBDC service center that serves your area there.
Okay, thank you. We'll move to Darla Erickson from Dakota Land Federal Credit Union. Thank you for being with us. We'll just start off right away. What is an estimated amount someone should have, or they should be working toward, to have in savings for an emergency fund right now?
Thank you, Mark. Yes, there are amounts that you should have put away. 3 to 6 months of living expenses is a good number to go with. Now, it depends on the individual. It could be their income, could be the same as their living expenses. So it's good to have funds in an account that you can get to. So a savings account, money market, types of funds where you can just go in and withdraw the funds or transfer it over into your checking account to use in this time of need, or upon emergencies. Putting the money, or if you do have other accounts such as an IRA, whether it's traditional or Roth, and you need to get those funds out, I do know the IRS is waiving any penalties at this time for a short period of time to get those funds out if you're under 59 and a half. So, but the best thing to do to put to put that money away into a savings account that's very easily accessible.
Okay. Should somebody be investing right now?
If you have available funds, absolutely. Or if you're investing through your 401k, it is a very good time to invest. The markets are down. You have a sale going on, and everyone likes to make purchases if there's a sale. So it is a good time to invest.
Okay. How should I be managing my finances right now? Are there specific steps I should take to protect those finances? Should I be making purchases making large purchases right now? Or is there certain steps that someone should be using to actually kind of try to protect themselves?
Absolutely. First of all, I would say take an inventory of your finances. If you have a financial advisor, talk to them. They can give you some great information and help you make decisions about managing your finances. If you don't have a financial advisor, find one. Go to your bank. Go to your credit union. To the individual you have that you can find at your financial institution. They can give you some names or help you find someone to talk to in regards to that. And you don't have to have a lot of money to have a financial advisor. In fact, if you don't have anything if you don't invest at this time, they will help you get started. So they're a very good, experienced and educated person to talk to. Or if you feel more comfortable talking to your personal banker or even your lender, they can help guide you. So give them a call, talk to them. Now, the other question in regards to steps to protect my finances, keep your money in your credit union, keep your money in your bank. You don't want, it's a whole lot safer than keeping the cash in your home. Each person is insured by the U.S. government up to $250,000 in each financial institution which they have accounts. So your money is safe in those financial institutions. It's not that safe at home, especially if you have a fire or a theft. That money's gone. So, and you'll always have access to that financial institution in order to get that money out. Making large purchases right now, the scenario is different with every individual. It's based off your employment, stability, whether you have funds put away for an emergency, if you have investments. It's just based off each individual. One thing you'll want to do is look at your overall picture of your finances. You should ask yourself, what are my current debts, my living expenses in relation to my income? Can I afford a large payment? Could my employment be jeopardized with the COVID-19 outbreak? Again, talk to your financial institution, talk to your lender, talk to your financial advisor. They can help you get that information and determine whether it's a good time for you to make that large purchase.
Are there some things that someone should consider if their household was a two-income house or residence, and now with the COVID-19 pandemic, they've went down to one? Are there some considerations there for a person in that situation?
Yes, of course. If you're now, if you know that your one income has to pay all the bills, yes, you need to take care of this with one income. So first of all, I would suggest, if you haven't already, set up a budget. Know what your expenses are, and that includes your necessary essentials such as groceries, gas. Something that these are expenses that you have to pay every single month. If you need help with this budget, contact your local financial institution. They have many experienced individuals that can help you set up a budget or guide you to where to go to get that. If you have an emergency fund in place, get one started. Again, contact your bank or your credit union, and they can help you get one set up for you. But I think the main thing here is know what your expenses are, know what your income is. You live off two incomes every month. Now you have one, so you're going to have to cut some things that you normally would spend money on, because you now have bills that you have to pay and food you have to buy. So you'll want to take care of those first before you would spend money on any other things.
Darla, I know initially there's rumors with financial institutions, but the financial institutions, the banks and the credit unions, they're still open, operational. If you need them, how would somebody go about getting a hold of Dakota Land?
I do know that all the financial institutions, their doors are locked, so they can't just walk into the building. Phone, give us a phone call. We take hundreds of phone calls a day, and we visit with our members through the phone or messaging through email. I get a lot of email messages with my members, but give us a call. We have the switchboard guiding our members to where they need to go, and so we're on the phone a lot. And for whatever help they need, we will be there to help them. We do have a specific, and I had mentioned before, we do have some programs set aside for this time. And I'm sure, as most financial institutions do, call your financial institution, find out if they have any programs to help you. We have actually 3 different ones in place right now, and we are very busy. We do have a lot of our employees working at home, so we do have very few actually in the building to eliminate the large group to work with, so making it safe for everyone. But we are there. We have not stopped working. It's very busy, and we're there for our members and for the community.
Okay, thank you. Any last comments?
Just thank you, and I would hope that our members or any individual within our community makes those contacts and gets the help that they need, because we are there, and just as long as same as the SBA and the unemployment.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
With that, we will move to Robin with the South Dakota Department of Labor. Thank you for joining us. We'll just start off. What are the current unemployment options that are available for individuals?
Well, right now, Mark, the only people who can apply for unemployment are people who are employees. They have that true employer-employee relationship. If you're given a W-2 at the end of the year, then you are an employee. That means that your employer has paid into unemployment for you, or there is a possibility of that employer being charged. And so those are the only claims that we're able to process right now.
Okay. To be eligible for unemployment, what's the current process like to file?
So in order to file, you need to gather some information first. You need to make sure you have your Social Security card or your Social Security number, your driver's license or your state ID number, and your employment history for the past 18 months. And that's going to include where you worked, the address of each of those employers, the phone numbers, and a contact name for each of those. You need to have that information ready. And then you can go to that site, raclaims.sc.gov. And as I said earlier, you can go through the tutorials to see what you're supposed to do, what you're supposed to put into the computer, and then you can go ahead and you can enter that in. If you don't have a computer, and of course I know our library is closed, our lobby is closed, places that people would normally come to file for things like that. So if that is not an option for you, I want you to call our office. We do have 1 or 2 people here between 8 and 5 Monday through Friday, and you can give us your name and your phone number, tell us what you want, if you just want some information or you want some help filing a claim, and then we will have somebody probably working from home call you back and go ahead and take your claim. We'll be over the phone with you, and we'll be loading that information into the computer. But if it's at all possible for you to do it yourself, we would prefer that. You're the one who knows your information better than anybody. We also we also help people who, there's also a segment of the population that their only access to the computer is on their phone. And it is difficult, if not impossible, to file your unemployment just using your smartphone. So we're still here. We still want to help you. So 353-7155 is our phone number. Again, that's 605-353-7155. And you just give us a call between 8 and 5, Monday through Friday. And yeah.
Okay. Can an individual be eligible for unemployment if they're just facing reduced hours at their workplace?
Yes, Mark, they can. We call that partial unemployment. And so there is a formula that's taken into consideration, and it's going to be different for everybody because it depends upon how much you make. So if you you have to be earning less than what they call your weekly benefit amount, which is a calculation of what your weekly unemployment insurance amount would be. So let's say your hours were reduced, and so you call in, you file a claim with unemployment. That's what we call it when you start your claim. Start your claim or you file for unemployment. And then you always request payment for the week that has already passed. So you have filed your claim, and then it's Monday morning, and you say, hey, last week my employer was only able to give me 18 hours of work, and I normally work 40. So I'm going to request a weekly payment for last week. And so when you do that, you're going to put into the computer, or again, if you want our help, we're here to help you with that too. But you're going to put into the computer when you request your weekly payment how much you worked last week. And then they're going to, then there will be a calculation of how much unemployment insurance benefit that you would be eligible for the previous week. And then that would be paid out. Now let's say this week you are working 35 hours. So chances are you're not going to be eligible to file for unemployment, or, well, you can always apply for unemployment. You're always welcome to see if you're eligible. Chances are you will have made over your weekly benefit amount. You can go ahead and try that, but chances are they're going to say, no, you already earned more than your weekly benefit amount. But absolutely, you can file for partial unemployment, and that's a way to keep make up the difference while that employer is trying the best that they can to hang on to you.
Okay. What's the easiest way to apply for unemployment assistance or make contact with the Department of Labor? I think you've already thrown the phone number and website out, but if you could do that one more time for those listening.
Sure, RA, and that stands for Reemployment Assistance. I think it was last year or the year before in South Dakota, we changed the name unemployment insurance to reemployment assistance. So we use those terms interchangeably, and I know sometimes it can get a little confusing, but that's why it's called RA. So it's RA claims, period, SD as in South Dakota, period, GOV as in government. And when you go on that site, it will also give you the phone number. Our call center for where claims are processed is Aberdeen, South Dakota. And when you call that number up there, I think that's on that website as well. I know it is. Chances are you're going to get somebody in Aberdeen, or right now, some offices who have the phone capabilities are actually taking some of those calls that are rolling over from Aberdeen. Our office in Huron is not capable of doing that. So we're just helping people who call in directly to us. And again, our number here in Huron is 605-353-7155. And we're happy to help. We might not be able to jump right into that conversation with you. We might say, hey, let me get your name, a good callback number, and either I'll call you back or one of our people working remotely will give you a call.
Okay. Any last thoughts?
Well, there's been a lot of talk lately about the additional $600 a week unemployment benefit that the unemployment benefit that's being paid out to all eligible claimants. And that is through the CARES Act, through the Federal Pandemic Unemployment Compensation, or FPUC. And that began the week of March 29th. So claimants, people who are filing for unemployment, they don't have to request that extra $600. That will automatically come. If you're eligible for unemployment, you still, you will be receiving that as well. You know, I want to make it clear, though, Mark, that people, when you file for unemployment, you still have to be eligible for unemployment. And by that, I mean you have to have enough wage credit, you have to have enough quarters, you have to have enough earning monetarily be eligible in order to draw that. And so there are some people who are young, they've just started in the workforce, and they don't, they haven't earned that yet. And then there are other people that maybe their work history's been a little rocky. Maybe they've worked for cash. Maybe they were kind of with a wink and a nod called a contract employee, and then so now they don't have earnings for their Social Security number. So it's. I'm not telling you everybody's going to qualify for unemployment, but you certainly should try if your job has been reduced or lost temporarily, we hope, because of the virus.
Okay. If you have questions.
And then you asked.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. And then you also said, your question was what else is new, or what else, right?
Yes. It's kind of your last wrap up there.
Okay, I want to talk just a minute about the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance, or PUA. And this is something new, Mark. This is something that we haven't gotten guidance on it yet, so please be patient. Trust that the South Dakota Department of Labor is trying to put this all together so people can file. But PUA, or Pandemic Unemployment Assistance, is going to be where people who are self-employed, independent contractors, and gig workers will be able to file for unemployment. Kind of an unusual twist here, for sure. So they've gotten some guidance from the federal government, and they're trying to put this together so they know how to proceed to help people. And we have received lots and lots of phone calls on that, and I'm telling you, there'll be a press release as soon as people can start to file for that, and we'd be happy to help you with those too. But I don't have any information on specifics on that just yet.
Okay. All right. I do have one question. It's not for our panel. It's in regards to the call center hours. The Beetle County COVID-19 call center hours, they are there every day of the week, 8 to 5. So if you have questions, concerns about COVID-19, you are able to contact 353-6214, and they will be able to help you with all those questions or concerns that you may have. As far as that, I do not have any questions from the public at this point, so I would like to thank our panel for being on here. This will be posted to YouTube shortly. Any last thoughts before we sign off for the day?
Mark, I just want to kind of add to what Rob said about the PUA benefits. I happened to be on a phone call with the secretary from the Department of Labor and Regulation yesterday, and she again reiterated just what Robin said, that those additional benefits basically are going to come about because the CARES Act expanded who could qualify for unemployment assistance. People like independent contractors, gig workers, small business owners who have never qualified for these benefits in the past are now qualified. But again, that takes a whole nother upgrading of systems at the state level to do, on top of the fact that they're already dealing with claims that are extraordinarily higher than they've ever seen before. And she mentioned that they're working on it. They had just received guidance, final guidance in the last week on that. She was hoping within about a week they might be able to accept those applications. But, you know, again, watch for the press releases, go to the Department of Labor and Regulations website, keep an eye on that. Businesses will not have to be closed in order to qualify, kind of like an employee. If their revenues are cut, they may still be eligible for a benefit, so they'll just have to go through the process. But we too are getting a lot of questions on that. As you can imagine, there's a lot of sole owner and businesses that have no employees, that this is their livelihood. Think about a daycare provider in their home, an independent contractor who doesn't have employees. There's a lot of employees or a lot of people that fall under this category that could benefit from this program. But patience is the name of the game at this point, and just being aware that those benefits are out there. We're just working to get them out to the people.
Okay. Any last comments?
This is Darla at Dakota Land Federal Credit Union. I just wanted to mention that Dakota Land is participating in the Paycheck Protection Program. So make a call and find out what you need to do. I know our business side is taking care of that. So.
I mentioned a couple of the websites for more information. We also are trying to put information out on our Facebook page just because it's easy and quick. You don't have to spend a lot of time to put pieces of information out there. So Small Business Development Center, Aberdeen, South Dakota is our Facebook page. That's an easier place for people to access or even to message us through that mechanism. We're here to help use these resources that are out there.
Okay. Robin?
Yes, I have, there's a human resource, Huron Area Human Resource Association here in Huron, and I have quite an extensive mailing or email group for them. And so anything I get from our department, or I get from David McGurr from Greater Huron, he's been a wonderful resource for us too, I then send out to that mailing list or email group. And so if there are employers or businesses out there that said, geez, I wish when there's updates I would get those or be told what's happening just in case I miss that press release, again, call that 353-7155 number, ask for me. I will add you to that, and then you will be getting those updates. So I'd love to help you.
Okay. I believe that is all we have. I would like to thank our panel for joining us today. Kelly Weaver from the Small Business Development Corps, Darla Erickson from Dakota Land Federal Credit Union, and Robin Wallum from South Dakota Department of Labor. We're going to try to do weekly updates. Next week we'll try to put a different spin on it. We kind of wanted to focus this week on the unemployment and different options that are available for employers and employees out there and the financial side. So I thank our group for coming in, and as I said, we'll try to do this next Friday as well. Have a little other options that are available as we all face or go through this COVID-19 pandemic. So thank you to my panel, and for everyone else that's been listening and watching, thank you for tuning in, and have a great Easter weekend.
You the same.
Same here. Thanks.
Thank you.